And he's seen me slam other officers when they talk nonsense. I mean, slam other lieutenants when they want to be tough or whatever. Like, oh, we gotta fucking...
You mean verbally?
Yeah, I mean, just go off. You can go into that. I mean, you've seen it.
And what he was saying was like, oh, you know, the bottom of the foot thing. I found that it didn't really matter, but and it doesn't once you build a relationship. However, if you are a Marine going into a house and you're still doing kinetic stuff and you're kicking indoors and you are showing the bottom of your foot to people, then yeah, that pisses people off. But once you build a relationship and you go like this, then like they don't really give a shit. But like that wasn't the point we were trying to make. The point was that like. All that minor cultural stuff, like, it's not important.
The fact that he brought up,
relations.
he's like, what are you training? Don't show the bottom of your feet, that doesn't matter. And the fact that he thought that's what we were talking about, that's what we spent hours upon hours upon hours training our Marines on these so-called soft skills is what got us riled up and what got me riled up. You know, I think he was trying to take the point of, hey, I'm a senior officer, I know certain things, and what I shot back was, you know, I've lost Marines. I've been around the injuries. I've been in some bad fucking situations. This is the way to win. You gotta listen to us. And one of the biggest worries that all of us in 3-7 had, and I think Colonel Turner had it, Captain Mines had it, we had it, was, what is the next unit going to do? Is, if we set up all this great relationship, can we turn over, literally, like a case officer does, can we turn over this relationship to the next unit so they seamlessly come in and can continue moving forward? Because 7 months of winning doesn't mean shit. You got to continue doing it. You got to continue with the good stuff.
Yeah.
And this kind of negative attitude from a unit that was coming to replace us was just unacceptable to me. And so... It got a little heated in there, and it got a little bad. So, I mean,
and where was this exactly?
This was in
17th Street.
17th Street.
Sabotage.
Yeah. You know, and the fact that someone would come in a pre-deployment site survey and ask, "What did you do to train to this? What you know?" and then tell us, "No, you didn't do that right." No, I'm sorry. That's no go. I mean, that's. You don't need to take everything I take on board. That's not what I'm saying.
It's February 9th today as we're doing this. Have you had communications with
ITs? Yeah. Do you get called?
I don't get direct communication with my counterpart, but I've heard through other people that things are going well.
I get direct communication from my Marine counterpart I ripped with, and I get calls from the Iraqis on my cell phone. From Colonel Adnan and Professor Rahim, usually saying nonsense about Hana, that girl who wants to marry me. But so the relationship carried over. I still talk to those guys. I still, through my counterpart, send messages back to my Iraqi guys and all that. So.
And just as something I just thought of what we were talking about, referring back to, as a Sergeant E5, Frock to Lieutenant, did you have certain advantages over the other A-team commanders? Because, I mean, you spent 3-4 years as an enlisted Marine, whereas even some of the
I'd say any advantages I had were on the dealing with the Marines portion, but I had great disadvantages as far as I was dealing with, like, I'm sitting there dealing with a community, an area of responsibility where I'm struggling with economics, infrastructure, things like this. Things that I like to think that I'm a pretty intelligent guy. Like, I had some grasp on, but like I certainly didn't get a 4-year degree in financial... Political economy. Lieutenant Falk is a straight up economy major. Like, these guys were well read into these things. And so I was at a great disadvantage in that, but and it goes back to like that whole plane ride. Like, what that facilitated was I could go to them now as a counterpart and be like, hey, help me out with this. Like, what's my answer? Like, what do you think about this idea?
Go to who was a counterpart?
To Lieutenant Mika, Lieutenant Falk, all of them. You know, Lieutenant Bradley was phenomenal the entire time. He was our operations officer.
It was also interesting when you say E5 Frock to Lieutenant. Now, our Marines respected him as a lieutenant. I mean, I mean, he carried that over them when he was not a lieutenant, just because he's a stud and good Marines, cream of the crop, and they just respect him as a leader.
Right.
They respected him as an officer because he carried himself as an officer, or about as good as I do, which isn't saying much, but.
The advantage I had was I was working with my friends.
Okay.
And that could be good and bad. In my case, it ended up being very good because they all understood what was going on.
With guys with an internal discipline, it will never be an issue. With undisciplined unit, yeah, it'll be a big issue. You did have issues with staff NCOs.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there's no big deal.
And what personal qualities, I mean, do you have that you thought were helped you to function well in that role?
Well, I'm older than everyone, for one. I'm older than Lieutenant Mahiga.
We don't like to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm 27 years old, and I'm a sergeant in the Marine Corps. I came in when I was 24, and that's always been an advantage. You know, just
what did you do between high school and?
I went to college for a little while, on and off. But, that maturity that, I'm past that 18-year-old, 19-year-old. So that helped me, here in the rear. Yeah. But, like, even in Iraq and stuff, like, I'm a little, I have college experience. I've maybe I've read a few more books or whatever. Right. Had a little bit more exposure to the world than my peers. So it's an advantage. And I think basically that's what it comes down to.
We're actually getting him a walker pretty soon.
Yeah, you should. I'm feeling pretty crappy, but I think that like with me and like Lieutenant Mahiga, like that was immediately something that we both kind of we were professionally we worked well together because we had a good personal relationship, and it wasn't like it didn't cross any lines or anything like that, but because we were able to, because of I think my age and what comes with age maturity, he was able to relate to me a lot more, and then professionally we were able to work a lot better together.
The other thing, the testament of Humphrey is he was also, because of this maturity, because he had to go from corporal to sergeant to lieutenant back to sergeant. I think it's much easier to ramp up. I think it's pretty hard for some people to ramp back down. And that, now, he also has the benefit to where, like, we still treat him like a lieutenant half the time. Well, I'd say all the time. But it's dicey for a lot of individuals to have that power of where, I mean, realistically, when an officer gives an order, that's a law. I mean, if you read you're giving law. And it was viewed as that, and to go back to NCO role where it is different, that's a testament to you. And he for so long he called me Morrow, and then literally within a day it's back to sir. On the truck ride home, he had to call me sir again, or else I would have fucking drop kicked you, you fucking nasty little thing.
And the second to last topic is breaking the company and the opposition, and the members internally that dislike
I think a lot of this I think a lot of it is a testament to Captain Mines.
Yeah.
Once he got on the deck and he got eyes on and he understood the situation, his willingness to go outside the box was immediate. Like, he immediately saw the way things needed to be done and he went for it. I think that's a testament to his personality, his command, and his just ability to like kind of operate outside the box. But it was not easy from PFC to company command.